Good morning. I have to tell you, when we found out about President Rivlin's challenges, first of all, our hearts are with him. Our hearts are with his family. Our hearts are with the people of Israel during this trying time. And then when I received a phone call from Congresswoman Bachmann asking if the ambassador could come, I was tempted not to tell the ambassador, because I spend most of my day dealing with people who, while excellent people, deal with small issues. And the longer you deal with small issues, on occasion, the smaller you become. And to start off my day, I wish this was starting my day, but this is midday, this is lunch for me, with big ideas, the biggest idea, and focused on that collectively, together, with unity. Is there any better way in this holy place to begin your day? And there is not. And so I bring greetings on behalf of my boss, Ambassador David Friedman, and the finest person that I have ever had the privilege of working for, and his boss, President Donald J. Trump. Here in the capital of Israel, Jerusalem, the holy city. And while I don't believe that my job enables me to pray with you, I am an ordained rabbi, so I'm going to tell you what we could pray for. And you'll excuse me if we do that. I'm going to pray for two things this morning. On this historic day, June 6th, the date of the reunification of the holy city of Jerusalem, the capital of Israel, we're going to pray for the following two things, and I hope that you'll join with me when you do that. The first is the most tragic and challenging part of my job is to go visit, to pay a shiva call to those who have been killed tragically via terrorism and other tremendous challenges that still exist to this day here, and to go visit those who are recovering from the same horrendous acts. And after one incident of a brave soldier protecting Jerusalem, I went to go visit him and his family in the hospital, and he was in a coma when I arrived, about 8 hours, 10 hours after he had gotten out of surgery. And I'm sitting with his mother and his sister and his father in the waiting room, and it's Israel, it's informal. All of Israel is with this family. All of Israel was raising this family up in prayer. And the unique privilege and pleasure that I have to wear this pin is that when I go meet with this family, I'm not doing it on behalf of Aryeh Lightstone. I'm not doing it on behalf of my family, but I'm doing it on behalf of the 300 million people of the United States of America coming together to raise up this family, because the United States of America stands unequivocally and unapologetically with the people of Israel, with the people of peace, with the people here of the capital of Israel in Jerusalem, and we stand together with them. And I went to visit this family, and a young woman walks into the room, and the mother stands up and gives her a hug, and they both start to cry. And I asked them why. And the young woman of 25 tells me, let me tell you what happened. She said that at the post, she was a lieutenant or a captain in the Israeli army, and they responded to the terror attack, and she's driving with her Jeep, her and her driver, down to pursue the terrorist, and the terrorist goes on the other side at however many hundreds of kilometers an hour, and they're not able on that road to make a U-turn, so they get to the site to secure the site and to see if there's anybody there to be rescued. And she checks the first two young men, and they don't have a chance, and she finds the third one and has a chance. And the paramedics get there, and they load up this young man, and they take this young man to the hospital, and she looks around, and there's nobody from his unit left. So she abandons her post, and she gets into the car with this guy. She drives the 35 minutes, holding his hand until he gets to the emergency room. They get to the emergency room, and the doctor, the head of the doctor of what a blessed hospital, stands there and says, I'm sorry, only family can go past this point. She turns, this 25-year-old woman with this 22-year-old kid who's in a coma, and they don't know if he's going to make it. She turns to the doctor and says, do you know this young man's name? The doctor says, I don't. And the young woman says, well, until his mother gets here, I'm his mother. And to see the two of them together, his adopted mother for those 24 hours, and his actual mother sit there and join in prayer and in tears. When we pray today, and we pray for the peace of Jerusalem, there should never be a 25-year-old mother like that again. There should never be a 40-year-old mother like that again. And when we think that we are lucky, we're sitting in a beautiful hotel, with a fantastic room, filled with people here whose prayers can move the heavens, we haven't moved the heavens enough. And when I was in Washington, D.C. this year, celebrating the recognition of the Golan with President Trump, Ambassador Friedman, and the team, and I was in the White House, and I got a phone call from my wife. And I said, "Sweetheart, I'm sorry you're not here joining with us." And she goes, "Do you know what I've spent the last hour doing?" I said, "What have you spent the last hour doing?" "Practicing running down to the bomb shelter." Because the night before, the rocket that had flown 51 kilometers, had it flown 50 kilometers, would have landed on our block. And she said, "We've got 4 kids. The 10-year-old doesn't wake up in the middle of the night. My baby needs to be carried down to the basement. How do we get them all there if you're not here?" This happened once for us. This happens daily for so many people. My 8-year-old calls me back because she knew that this bothered me to the tremendous amount that no father should ever be bothered. And the 8-year-old says, "Don't worry, I spoke to Mom. I'll grab the baby." What 8-year-old should be forced and faced with that decision, that when woken up in the middle of the night, their instinct should be, "Let me go back to sleep. I don't want to go to school yet." Not, "How quickly can I get up, grab the baby, and make it down to a bomb shelter?" So when we pray, don't think that what's sitting here now, 52 years later, that you are done. Think that you are only beginning. And let me tell you why that's the case. And with this, I'll conclude. The holiday of Shavuot that we're about to celebrate beginning this Saturday night does not have a date in the Bible. It happens 50 days after the second day of Passover. And so how would you get to Shavuot? You have to count. That's how you do it. You have to count. So how would you count if you're looking forward to something? If you have the Exodus from Egypt, the single greatest event in the history of mankind, from the Exodus of Egypt to the revelation at Sinai, these 2 bookends have moved the world in the way that 49 days have never moved the world before and never moved the world since. So if we're recreating, if we're reliving, if we're re-experiencing these 50 days, how would you count them? You would do like we would count for anything else that we have in life that we're excited for. I've got 10 days left till summer vacation. I've got 5 days left until I get to see my wife. I've got 2 weeks left until we get married. I've got 100 days left until my parents' big birthday or anniversary. We count down. There are 99 days. There are 98 days. There are 97 days. But Judaism commands that we count up. The first day that we count is the first day. Then the next day is the second day. And the day after that is the third day. It doesn't seem to make sense. Why don't we count down as though it's something we're looking forward to? And I'll share with you what my rabbi taught me. If you count down to something, I have 10 days left, and then 9 days left, and then 8 days left, and then 7 days left. What happens when you hit 0? What's the day after? If you count down to something, what's the day after? The answer is disappointment. We never count down to anything in Judaism. We don't celebrate having achieved this. We celebrate getting to that point because we're different once we've achieved that point. The next day is the day that matters. And how do we know that? It's the craziest idea. In Judaism, if you get married, you can have $1 million wedding. I don't recommend it, but you could have $1 million wedding. You are obligated by the rabbis the next night to have what is called Sheva Brachot, the 7 blessings. For the next 7 days, you're supposed to do that. And you have to invite somebody to the Sheva Brachot that was not at the wedding the night before. So I might have $1 million wedding in the Waldorf Astoria, in the Orient Hotel. I might have $1 million wedding in the Orient Hotel, and then have pizza party for 11 of my friends at Big Apple Pizza the next night. Do you know which night the rabbis tell us is a better night? It's the second night. It's the pizza party. Because the rabbis have taught us something very important. Getting married is awesome. Having a wedding is awesome. It's not the same thing as being married to your partner. Your first day of marriage is better than your day of your wedding. Your second day of marriage is better than your first day. And so therefore, when we count down from Passover to Shavuot, we don't count down, we count up. Because if you counted to 0, what happens the next day? You got nothing. So we're about to count the 50th day this Sunday. We're going to count the 50th day. Do you know what's better than the 50th day? The 51st day. This is the third Jerusalem breakfast, prayer breakfast. What you have done is historic. I'm disappointed to tell you this year is going to pale in comparison to what next year is going to look like. On behalf of Ambassador Friedman, I wanted to thank you for coming to the capital of Israel. I wanted to thank you for lifting us in your prayers. I want to tell you, you're not doing it enough. You're not doing it hard enough. Because what can happen from this room can change the world. Please, deeper, dig in deeper, grow stronger. And next year, if you guys fit in this room, something has gone wrong. So next year, we hope to see you at the convention center. Next year, we hope to see you with 10,000 people strong. Thank you for your prayers. Please keep doing it. Thank you.